Okay, so hi everyone. We are very happy to have you here and welcome you to today's Train to Be Equal webinar on the gender equality in real sector hiring and in the work environment. So Train to Be Equal is a project dedicated to fostering gender equality within the real sector. And today we are honored to have all the speakers from different sectors to present to you how to the HR practices that foster the gender equality in the workplace. And also at the end, we will have a training session with experts at FS Italian. So this is today's agenda. Following a brief introduction from me and Laura to this project, we will have the pleasure to have Cliona, sorry for the pronunciation, Cunningham, the head of communications from CR, to share with us on the Women in Real agreements. And then we will dive into the best practices, the practical strategies for achieving gender equality. There we will have experts from OBB, CFL, GFC, and Pharma Movement. They will share their best practices in areas like recruitment, talent management, and fostering a more inclusive work environment. And all these practical sharings will be followed by very interactive training sessions led by FS Italian. Experts will provide us concrete guidance on building inclusive practices and cultivating a workplace that empowers employees. So that's basically the agenda for today, and I'll give the floor to Laura to present to you the Train to Be Equal project briefly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you, Yuke. So yes, my name is Laura Petersen, and I am a Senior Security Research Advisor here at UIC as part of the Security Division. I'm going to just give a brief overview of the Train to Be Equal project. So really, Train to Be Equal stems from the idea that we need to push for greater gender equality in the rail environment, in the rail sector, on many different fronts. And so we've kind of brought different platforms, different groups together around this one project called Train to Be Equal. So of course we have the sustainability platform here. And as you all know, it's one of the Sustainable Development Goals, gender equality. Security division is also involved, of course, taking into account the security of women and making sure women feel safe while traveling by rail or working in the railways. The passenger department as well, to ensure that gender responsive design is taken into account as part of the passenger experience, and of course the talent platform as well, and they're the ones that are hosting this webinar today. So far we've had 3 webinars dedicated to the topic through the Train to Be Equal project, and sustainability was the first one, and it was all about gender disaggregated data. Then we had a webinar from the security division focusing on security of women. Then we moved on to the passenger department webinar focusing more on station design and how to improve the passenger experience. And now here we are, as you've just said, talking about how to enhance the hiring of women. Train to Be Equal is an opt-in project at UIC, and so it's thanks to the members, as you can see on the screen. We have FS from Italy, we have FGC from Spain, we have Infobel for Belgium, and we also have RFI from Italy. Next slide, please. So we're sort of wrapping up the webinars that this project was focusing on, but this is not where it's going to end. So the idea for the Train to Be Equal project is to go even further. We want to research on the different barriers that inhibit women from either working in rail or traveling by rail. Ideally, we'd like to work on a global charter for women and provide guidance to the rail sector on how to better take into account the needs and expectations of women in the rail environment. Of course, we want to develop trainings and best practice guidance to how to achieve these goals. And through these webinars, there have been sometimes training aspects, and there'll definitely be a training at the end of this one as well. And of course, promote and deliver e-learning materials to facilitate the learning process. The project is open to new members, so if this is something that you're interested in, please don't hesitate to reach out. And now I'll pass back to you, and we can get started with the heart of the subject today.
Thank you, Laura. It's very brief and clear introduction. And sorry. And now we will have the pleasure to hear from Cliona Cunningham. She's the head of communications with the CR, the Community of European Railway and Infrastructure Companies. She has been actively working on diversity issues for over 20 years in both corporation and association environments. And she represents the CER on the topic of gender diversity, guiding the implementation of women in rail agreements within the membership and coordinating the EU-funded Women in Rail implementation project. So it's an honor for us to have you here, Cliona, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon and looking forward to some great discussions. So yeah, happy to talk to you today about the Women in Rail Agreement. So moving to the first slide, the Women in Rail Agreement is a sectoral autonomous agreement, which was signed in November of 2021. Now, it was quite groundbreaking because not only was it the first sectoral agreement in the sector for 15 years, it's actually the only autonomous sector agreement in any sector on the topic of gender and diversity. This was the result of almost 2 years of negotiations between CER, which, as mentioned, is the European Community of Railway and Infrastructure Companies, and ETF, the European Transport Workers Federation. Negotiations were even complicated a little bit by the fact that the COVID pandemic hit during negotiations, requiring everything to be taken online. But nonetheless, agreement was reached on the 5th of November 2021. And under the terms of the agreement, all CER EU members were required within the first year of signature to define a gender diversity policy. And then within the second year of signature to implement that policy. Now, obviously, this agreement is binding on all our EU members, so it's legally binding. It does take into account the legal provisions in each of the member states. By this, I mean that it cannot supersede national law, of course. It sets minimum standards, which does not prevent, and in fact, we encourage companies to be even more ambitious in their application. And it contains a non-duplication provision. So this means that if a company already had a gender diversity policy in place, which meets all the needs of the agreement, it was not necessary to redo that. So then moving along to the next slide, as you can see, the agreement is focused very much on 8 core principles and measures. And this very much covers everything from recruitment to retention of women, to work-life balance, to prevention of sexual harassment, of course, ensuring equal pay, and basically everything that will cover sort of from recruitment to retention to throughout the career. Now, in order for our members to be compliant with the agreement, they need to have all these 8 principles in place in their diversity agreement. And we follow up on this. Now, moving forward, where are we today? So as I said, this was signed in 2021, we're now 2024. So I'm happy to tell you that at this moment, 92% of employees of CER's EU member companies are covered by this agreement and benefit from all the various policies. On top of that, 7 non-EU members and 2 partners who are not required by law because they are not covered by EU law, have nonetheless chosen to apply this agreement within their own companies. And we very much appreciate this, and it's great to see non-EU companies also taking best practice from EU companies. And of course, we continue to collaborate on this topic within the membership. We continue to work with those remaining smaller companies who are still in the process of implementing the agreement, so that last 8%. But also there's much exchange of best practice within the membership on this very important topic. To the next slide. So also in terms of follow-up of the agreement, During the negotiations, it was agreed that the social partners, so CER and ETF, would request support and funding from the European Commission to assist with the implementation of the agreement. And this has taken the form of an EU-funded project. So basically, CER and ETF came together last year, and we spent a lot of time designing a project, which we then submitted for funding to DG Employment last June. And the main focus of this project will be the creation of the next Women in Rail report. I'll talk about that in a moment, but very much it's a comprehensive document which gives a good overview of the situation for women in the railway sector. Now, the last report was published in 2019 using data from 2018. So you can see it's high time for the next report, and this project will facilitate that. Important to note, it will also give us a reusable online tool which will facilitate future reporting. And that's important to make it as easy as possible for companies to report on this. There will also be 2 workshops organized throughout the project. The project has a life cycle of 18 months, and there'll be a project this autumn in Poland. Next spring, a workshop will be organized in Berlin. And these are opportunities for companies and the unions to come together and to exchange best practice and to inspire each other. So as I said, the project was approved and it officially commenced on the 1st of April, and it will run for 18 months. So how will the Women in Rail report look? So first and foremost, it will collect and share data on women in the rail sector so that we have a good overview of where we are. There'll be a breakdown per company, per country, and per profession. And on top of that, it will monitor the progress that has or has not been made since the last report in 2019. And we'll be able to see also the effects of the COVID pandemic. Has that affected women working in the sector? It would be an opportunity for the social partners to present best practice, for the companies to present best practice, for the trade unions to show how they have supported the values within their own organizations. And of course, there will be suggestions for further measures for how we can implement the agreement even better. So this is really a priority for us in CER, for us in the rail sector. And we're very much looking forward to working on this project together with the social partner and to bringing about a really useful document and also organizing some very useful workshops. Now, just to finish up, I would like to share with you a very short animation, just talking a little bit more about the Women in Rail Agreement.
Women are vital for a thriving European rail sector, but only 21% of the sector's workforce are women. That is why the community of European railway and infrastructure companies and trade unions at European level have signed the Women in Rail Agreement. Aiming to increase gender diversity, the agreement will help attract more women and create equal opportunities at all levels and areas in the sector. To achieve this, rail companies will commit to gender equality policies, introduce targets, and improve the recruitment process and career development for women. There will be a strong focus on improving the working environment for women, as well as keeping it free from harassment and sexism. Companies aim to implement these policies by the end of 2023. The agreement was a historic first step. Bringing it to life will be the leap forward to an inclusive future.
So thank you very much for your attention. And of course, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you so much, Cliona. It's such inspiring and interesting sharing. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Cliona won't be able to stay with us to the end, so make sure that you address your questions to her right now. Any questions? Well, I guess it's very clear, so that everyone is well informed. Perfect. Thank you so much, Cliona.
You're very welcome, and I'll be available until 2:30, so happy to take any questions that come up during that time. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So let's move to the second part of it, our webinar. We will have the pleasure to have 4 of our speakers from different companies and organizations to share with us the gender equality in real hiring and work environments. And so first, we will have the pleasure to have Ursula BAZANT. She is the head of education and training department at OBB Infrastructure, and she has her experience in professional life in Austria, Germany, and France, and she has been working in science, administration, and management in a variety of fields like education, training, labor markets, economics, political strategy, quality management, and controlling. So for Ursula, diversity is a powerful means for creativity and innovation, as well as a competitive advantage. So we are honored to have you here, Ursula, and the floor is yours.
Hi, welcome everybody. Also from my side, thanks for the nice introduction. I hope you can hear me good because I have some troubles today with my connection and with my headset, but Yuke, you are nodding, so it's okay. Okay, fine. Yes. Otherwise, come back to me and tell me that I'm maybe too not loud enough. Okay, I will give you a short presentation about how we try to recruit young women, young talent, young female talents to our company. You can switch to the next slide maybe. Yuke already mentioned that I'm head of education and training at the UBB Infrastructure AG. What we are doing is that we train everybody at UBB who is connected to a railway specific job. So we do not do personal development, something like that. That's up to the personal department with us, but we are making the expertise in the railway sector jobs. So I'm also responsible for the operational training and the vehicle training and also the technical training. But today I will focus on the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship is the part where we have our youngest members of staff. Maybe you can also already switch to the next slide. Yes, exactly. Because I'm just going through very quickly what is the apprenticeship. I think that many of you will be familiar with it. What is an apprenticeship? Just to make it short, apprenticeship is one way to teach and to educate the teenagers between 15 and 20 years old. So in Austria, when you have finished your occupational your school after 9 years, when you have finished the school after 9 years, you can decide to go on and stay in like general education and make your A-levels. That leads to university education. You can also choose to go to a school that also leads to A-levels, but also has a more practical part in it. So a school that is combined with a technical or commercial education. That's the second possibility. And the third one is that you go out of the school system and take up an apprenticeship that is a dual training. Dual training means that you are trained at 80% of the time at the company and 20% of the time in a vocational school where you get some general education and theory. And the dual training, the apprenticeship, that is what we do, what I do. At the UBB, we have about 2,100 apprentices in the whole group. And in the infrastructure where I am, we have about 1,800 apprentices. So the biggest part is in the infrastructure, where we also train the technical trainees, the technical apprentices. We at the infrastructure take up every year about 500 new apprentices. Last year, we even welcomed 650 apprentices. At the whole UBB, we welcomed 750. So a whole lot of young people that has to be trained and educated. From these apprentices, we have about 21% female apprentices in the whole ÖBB group and 17% apprentices at the infrastructure, so at the technical occupations. Nevertheless, the ÖBB is viewed from outside as a technical enterprise. So it is still very much that we have at the 21% in the whole ÖBB group, which Cliona just told us that is also the percentage for the whole railway sector in Europe. So that's funny for me to hear that we are perfectly in accordance with this. but we're still proud of it that we have 17 or 21% females. The question how we arrived at, because in general in Austria we do not have 17% female apprentices in technical occupations. It's far less. So we often get the question how we arrived there, and I will walk you through this quickly. We can move to the next slide. Thanks. In general, in the whole HR process, not only for the apprentices, but for everybody at the ÖBB, we divide the recruiting process in 3 stages: attracting, welcoming, and keeping people. These really stages, they're not really completely separable. So you will always find some measures you take in one stage is also fits for the other, but it's good to have some clustering and to get it better, to get it straighter, where to talk to whom and where are your main points. So the first stage, the attracting, that's mainly where we do our employer branding, where we do our marketing, our HR marketing, our image campaigns. In this stage, we also do a whole lot of collaboration with NGOs and schools that specialize in the idea of bringing young females to a technical occupation, into a technical occupation. We also participate in every award that is possible. We participate in every initiative taken by the public sector, like Girls' Days. I'm pretty sure that in all the other countries, these things also exist. What we also do is that we open up very much, because the young people very often do not have any idea what a technical occupation is about, and that is even more true for the girls. So what you can see here in this stage of attracting talents, of attracting new employees, is that we do a lot of measures. That we do very many measures that are not only set for girls, but we also put a special emphasis on them. What I mean is, when we go to a school and tell in the school what we are doing and which jobs we offer, we always take at least one girl with us. When we go to a job fair, it's the same. We always take at least one girl with us, and it's always our own apprentices, so that we can stay authentic. Also, the other way around, when people visit us in our apprentices workshops, or come to us to an open day or something like that, we always send the girls that visit us on a tour with our female apprentices, so they can spend with them 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, get to know us, learn about the jobs, and also have the possibility to talk with the girls who are already apprentices with us. So that's at the stage of attracting new talents, of getting to know us as an employer. In the second phase, the welcoming phase, that's around the time when they start working with us. We set a very big emphasis on role models. So we try to connect the new apprentices with either apprentices who are already there, female apprentices, but also female trainers and also female technicians who are already at the company. So what we try to show the young women, the girls, is you're not the first one, you're not the only one, there are others who can support you. So we very quickly also integrate them in all the networks we have, and all the female and women networks we have. And we also have some special welcome workshops for the girls, especially for the girls, and also to address the topic, I'm here, maybe in my class there is only one girl, it's strange, I'm coming from school, I used to be surrounded with other girls, how do I behave here? So welcoming workshops. One thing I put in brackets, because we don't do it actually, but it is an interesting instrument, and I know that a lot of other people are working with, and a lot of other companies, are working with it, is a gold ticket. A gold ticket means that every girl that applies for a job, for an apprenticeship, is taken irrespective of grades or tests or other requirements, recruiting requirements. We decided not to do it, but for example, the public transport system in Austria or in Vienna, the subway system in Vienna, they do this golden ticket. It's 2 philosophies. I'm not sure if I should recommend it. We do not do it because I think it's a very good way to attract more girls and to get to recruit more girls. But we at the ÖBB, we are not sure if it is also a good way to keep them. So because if you don't look at the grades, if you don't look at the job interview, then you also do not look at the motivation somebody has to apply with us. So if I take up all the girls, I can never talk to them and find out if it's really the wish of the girl to make the apprenticeship, or it's maybe the wish of the parents to make this apprenticeship. So you never know if it's good fit. So maybe for other companies it works. We decided to not do it. But this is a good way of moving forward to the third stage, the part of keeping, because as I said, the golden ticket might be a good way to have a high recruiting quota of females, but we're not sure if it's also a good way to have a higher overall employment of women, because it doesn't help us with keeping the girls, the young women. This third stage is, in my opinion, in the ÖBB opinion, maybe a very crucial and important stage, because here we decide if the girls or the young women really stay with us at the ÖBB and stay with us in the sector, in the railway sector, or leave us again. In this stage, we have about, at the apprenticeship, we have between 3 and 4 years to work with the young people, depending on the actual occupation and job. So we have 3 or 4 years to prove ourselves as a reliable and good employer. And in this time, the girls decide if they think that the ÖBB, that the railway sector is something where they fit in, where they want to work, where they want to build up their career or not. So this is where we have to also give them an environment where it's nice, comfortable, and they feel accepted. What we do here is that we offer them various projects and curricular activities, but maybe most importantly, in this phase, we also work with social workers. These social workers, they have an office at our apprenticeship workshop. That means that they are there all the time. They're part of the team, of the trainer team. They do a one-to-one counseling if needed, but they also make workshops with our girls, specially designed for them, whatever the need is. And the main goal with the social workers is to make it easier for girls to start with us, to really also finish their apprenticeship and to transit to the ÖBB. That's why we do work with the social workers. What is important for me as for the department, for the head of department, is that we do not only set a whole lot of measures, because I think if you read through it, you see that we do mainly everything that is possible to get young girls and young women, but we also combine them with targets, with clear and reachable, tangible targets, and we also always work evidence-based. Now you can switch the slide to the next one. Thanks, Yuke. What I mean with clear and tangible targets is that we're not only setting a lot of measures, and we're not only investing a lot for attracting young women to us, but we also have some goals we want to reach. So we set a percentage for the new entrants of 25 female percent. That means that if you welcome 500 new apprentices next year, I expect that at least a quarter of them are females. So all the apprenticeship workshops, all the people working in the recruiting for the apprentices have to look at that for 1 year, that in September we end up with 25% of female and new entrants. We also have a goal for the overall female percentage in the apprentices, the 20% until 2026. For the whole ÖBB group. For the whole ÖBB group, we already reached this target. That's very nice. But for sure, that also means that we have to set another goal. And we have individual targets for our apprenticeship workshop, because we have not only in Vienna, in the capital, an apprenticeship workshop, but we have 9 apprenticeship workshops all over the country. And I have to say that it's far easier to reach young women in the bigger cities like Vienna. And it's very hard sometimes in the countryside to attract young people for technical occupations. So I want to keep that into mind and not tell a small village in the countryside that they should have like 30% by next year. They will not reach it. So that's what I mean when I say we have also tangible targets. So it's targets you really can reach. It doesn't make any sense to say we want 50% female apprentices by 2 years. We will not be able to reach it. But if you look at the regional background and at the starting point, then you can set individual goals for every apprenticeship workshop. We also have the goal for the take-on rate. So that's the rate for the transition between apprenticeship and really working for the ÖBB. That is just keep the same rate as it was in the apprenticeship. We also have, that's very new for us, a percentage set, a quota set for female trainers, because we found out that we are good in attracting young people. We are not so good in attracting mature women who are already experienced in their job. But I think it's important to also have female trainers to show the young girls that they can have a career, and that's a good opportunity for them. And they're by far not the first one to take this road. Just maybe a short sidestep. We also do a youth study every other year. With this youth study, we want to check what young people expect from us as an employer. We do this for girls and boys, but we also set a special focus on what the girls answer. So we ask our apprentices, what do you like in your apprenticeship? What made you work with us? What would you change? But we also ask young people from the outside what they would expect from an employer, and from a career and from a job opportunity. We also ask them about future projects and interests in general. This is more to get an idea where we should set our fringe benefits, where we should focus on with extracurricular workshops. What are young people interested in? And also for sure, we ask where they find us. So where should we do employer branding? Where should we do any advertising? But for sure, it's always the same as answer. You can do classical advertisement in newspapers for the parents and for the grandparents, and for the young people, you make a TikTok video. That's what we do in the end. Okay, I think that was very quickly a rush through. Yes, just maybe some insights. It's very personal. That's not a scientific conclusion. That's very personal, but I think it's important in getting more women to work with us, attracting more female talents. I think that it's very important to have a commitment from top. So our CEO, or better said, all our CEOs at the whole ÖBB group are very much behind this goal and are very openly that they want to have a diverse workforce. But you also have to convince the middle management. I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about the heads of the apprenticeship workshops, for example, because these are the ones who take up their workforce in the end. So if I'm not convincing also the middle management and the team lead that it is important to have more girls, nothing will happen. So I have to think about what could be an incentive for them. Yes, I need the targets, because if I have no idea what the goal might be, then I cannot reach it. If I have not a goal, I cannot finish there. I need institutional embedding. That's the question: who is responsible versus where's the point of contact. So we say everybody who has a responsibility is also responsible. So I am responsible, the heads of the workshops are responsible, and so on. But they might not be the point of contact. So it needs two views on it. The one is the one who says, I am responsible that we take up 21% female apprentices. But that's not the question when we say who is also a point of contact for the girls. So that might be not the same person, but you need both of them. Representation matters very much to show the young women that they are not the first, they are not alone. That is very important. We also see, if we look closer to the jobs we offer 20 different technical jobs, and we can see that some jobs are more popular with young women. Machine building, for example, is very popular with young women. We have actually at the moment no idea why, but we have like 40% in machine building and 0% in energy technique. And diversity needs some change. So it's not enough to only say, hey girls, we want you to work with us. You also need to change your culture and your work environment, because they will find out very quickly when they are not really welcome at the company. Yes, that's my very short walkthrough. There was one question, I didn't read it completely. Maybe you can help me. I just saw in the end that there was one question.
Yeah,
whole sentence.
sure. There's a question for you. Can you give examples of incentives that can be offered to mid-management to recruit more women apprentices?
Yeah, maybe it's not really an incentive, but the other way around. For example, we have for a higher management, it's now part of the bonus program. So if I do not meet my requirements, my bonus for next year will be cut. and not only for me, but also for the management level below me. So we are trying to, maybe for the team manager, it's not possible. Mostly the team managers don't have a bonus program. But that's one point. Another point where you can see it very easily is that the managers of the apprenticeship workshops, they are, to me, they are responsible that the workshop is full. So if they have for the next year 30 or 40 places, they are responsible that they can fill the places. We see that it's not possible anymore to just attract the young men. So this is also kind of an incentive to say, okay, if you want to have a full, if you want to fill up all your places, you will have to take some girls also. And what also works is that when they talk to each other between the apprenticeship workshops, mostly the apprenticeship workshops where there are already more young women and girls, they're very happy with this because they say that the work climate is changing a lot. And it's much easier because some of the other ones, they're older ones, they're always afraid to say, yeah, but if there are more girls, isn't this getting into more trouble because we're working with teenagers? This is a good idea. But the apprenticeship workshops who already have like 40% young women, and we also do have that, they say, no, it's exactly the other way around. It makes everybody a bit calmer and yeah. And it gives them a better work environment. So maybe that's an incentive. You can, for sure, you could also work the other way around, not with cutting bonuses, but giving extra premium. Could be a way. That's nothing we do at the moment because we see it as a responsibility of everybody in the management chain to be responsible for more diversity in the workforce. But it could also be a point, maybe giving financial incentives. What also could be a very good incentive is we discovered that the girls we have actually are much better on average than the boys. So they succeed in the apprenticeship better. They have better grades at the vocational school. They have better gradings. We also have like a grading system at the apprenticeship. They have better grades at the apprenticeship system. They get better jobs afterwards. So it's also a reward to them because better apprentices give a better reputation for the apprenticeship workshop they are coming from. Maybe.
It's very clear. Thank you so much, Ursula. Okay, should we continue with
That's just a backup with data for me. If anybody had a question about it, that's not. We don't have to go through all of that. Maybe the next slides that could be interesting. Yeah, this one, because there you can see. I thought I said before that we are taking some measures that are planned for everybody, like for boys and for girls, but we also take them with a special emphasis on the girls. And you can see this maybe here because on the left side, on the very left side, you see our campaign, our apprenticeship campaign. That's a normal sujet we have. And then we have also a special sujet for the girls. You see it a little bit below, where we just take girls. So everything we do, we have one version for like everybody and one general version and one version for girls only. Yes. But I think that's it. Yeah, that's the house I'm working in. Yeah, these are some links. Maybe if you send the slides afterwards, you could to everybody. These are some links where you can see our TikTok videos. For sure, I know it's German, but it gives you maybe a vibe because the campaign videos are made with models, but the TikTok videos are made by our apprentices. And mostly it's videos our apprentices want to do. So nobody tells them that they have to do exactly this video. But we have a like TikTok class, we call it. We have apprentices who make TikTok videos, and these are our own apprentices. So I think you can get the vibe a bit what we do. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, thank you so much, Ursula. It's such concrete and inspiring sharing. And of course, we will be sharing this whole presentation and all the relevant documents to everyone later, so you can have a look all the videos and the links. And I just saw a question in the chat. Is it for Cliona? Like, is it still possible to apply for the Women in Real Awards, or is it too late?
Unfortunately, it's just too late. In fact, they closed last Friday, so on the 7th. So I'm afraid for this year, it's not possible. But next time, hopefully.
Yeah, let's hope for another time.
Yeah.
And if there's any questions for Ursula, please don't hesitate, or you can also share it in the chat. We will have a Q&A session after all the full presentation of the best practices. So do not hesitate for to address your questions to Ursula. Thank you so much, Ursula, for this interesting presentation. Let's move on to to Jennifer Moreau. Are you here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you for
Perfect.
being here. So Jennifer is the Senior Sustainable Development Advisor and Gender Equality Officer for the CFL Group. And she's coordinating the Women at CFL project since 2022. And before CFL, Jennifer has a lot of experience in sustainable finance, in UN principles for responsible investment, and also sustainable fashion. And between 2017 to 2019, she was an advisor to the French president and the French prime minister on development and climate policies. And Jennifer also worked at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development and the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the German Technical Cooperation Agency, the European Commission, and the United Nations Development Program in France, Germany, the US, Central America, and Africa. So it's honored for us to have you here, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting us and to share, in order to share our experience in strengthening gender equality in the CFL group. Maybe on the next slide we will see what kind of program we will present you today. We will try to share you a little bit of context of the CFL group, of why we started this Women at CFL program, how it links to HR policies, how we approached the issue, and how we developed our gender equality policy and action plan in line with obviously the Women in Rail agreement presented by Cliona earlier today. And then we will try to focus on 3 key areas you were specifically interested in, as recruitment, career development, training and sensitization. But we'll see that actually our gender equality policy and action plan is also covering all other priority areas of the Women in Rail agreement. And then at the very end, I will be happy to show you our first results and how actually a program has having impacts on our HRs and our staff, more generally speaking. So on the next slide, you will see why have we actually started this program back in 2020. We have seen that actually we had a very low share of women back in 2021, only 15% of female staff, a very low share of female leaders, no women at all in the board of directors back in 2020, 2021. In the development, in the context of the development of our new strategy for 2020-2025, we have also recognized the need to hire quite a lot of new staff in order to attain our objectives for the 5 years to come. And generally speaking, also the need to more diversity to boost innovation and creativity in the company. So this is why we started this Women at CFL project, to strengthen gender equality and diversity within a very male-dominated company, and also to improve the image of the rail sector as an attractive place to work for women in particular. So in parallel, as we also noticed at the beginning of our meeting with the Women in Rail agreement was being developed, we have been also participating in the Luxembourgish Action Positive label process that is also recognizing specific efforts taken by businesses practices in favor of gender equality, and we have included the gender equality issues in our HR roadmap, which is directly linked to our 5-year strategy that you see at the very the round circle showing actually that the wir and mir is really the us, and how collaborators, actually our staff, is really central in order to achieve these objectives. So the next slide is only showing quite quickly that the diversity pillar is also part of our HR strategy, and within this diversity pillar we have been focusing on women, but also on generation management, promotion of diversity in general speaking, as well as inclusion. So what is concretely behind this Women at CFL project? This we'll see in the next slide, and how actually we developed it. So after the signature in November 2021 of the Women in Rail agreement, we started with a Women at CFL working group. So specific HR people coming together and seeing actually what have we been already doing the last years, and what are the gaps still in order to achieve the different objectives of the Women in Rail agreement. But also we did quite a lot of workshops with our staff, and us, as well as with our equal opportunities officers and our managers, to better understand what are the different difficulties, the challenges from the different parts of the society or parts of the business. What are also maybe the proposals by staff, by equal opportunity officers and managers, in order to strengthen gender equality, and also actually to meet specific expectations and due to the CFL context we are in. So in addition to the Women in Rail agreement, we have been identifying really custom-made actions in several areas. So recruitment and career development, conditions of work, work-life balance, and sexual harassment. On the next slide, you will see a short screenshot of our politique égalité femmes-hommes, our new policy that we have been signing, that has been signed by our comité des directeurs and end of 2022. Actually, it's the first sustainability policy that has been signed by this comité des directeurs, and as underlined by OBB, it's very important also to have this support of higher management on this. So we have this and the gender action plan with the different bullets you'll see here in green, with significant representing the pillars we are currently focusing on: recruitment, career development, work-life balance, equal pay, security and hygiene, sexism and sexual harassment, and training being really a cross-cutting issue that is being taken into account within the different pillars. So maybe to really match the expectations of the meeting today, I will focus on the first slide or next slide, the issue of recruitment. Maybe as a context, CFL is the biggest employer in Luxembourg after the state. We have also kind of what we see as a need to be also leading on the gender equality and also to lead on fighting stereotypes and also creating role models. So this we try to do through employer branding management campaigns. So 2022, we started the Missions That Rock campaign, also showcasing women and men, obviously in the different jobs. But we started also specific blogs and specific campaigns showcasing women in particular. So one of this campaign or blog series is the Voix Féminine, and we had the possibility to showcase our colleague Natasha, who is working in the Central Atelier and who is really presenting how actually she developed her interest in the railways and what she's doing at the railways, and how actually it's really like corresponding to expectations and what she wanted to do. So really an importance to showcase, to show what kind of jobs we have, but also that all the jobs are accessible to women and men, obviously. We have also a women-specific page on the CFL job portal. So this is the next slide. We wanted also, obviously, to show that we are committed, and here you can see a snap, like a short description of what we are having on our website, and also with specific and concrete examples of what we concretely do in order to recruit women, to make sure there's work-life balance, to make sure they have also the possibility to evolve and to develop themselves in terms of career in our group, etc., etc. So this is one part of the recruitment efforts we are doing in favor of women, but it's not at all the only ones. On the next slide, you will see that fighting stereotypes and also attracting women is also being done through our a charter for gender-sensitive writing. We have noticed that sometimes we tend to use a lot of words, masculine words, and that in particular in job descriptions, it's a little bit tricky if you want to be inclusive. So we have now a charte rédactionnelle inclusive, as you see here on the slide, which is being used in terms of internal communication, but also external communication, and in particular also the work we are doing to attract people. So all the job descriptions are being written as neutral as possible. As also mentioned by our OBB colleague, we are organizing a Girls and Boys Day. Unfortunately, there were no Girls and Boys Day in Luxembourg for many years, so we tried to reinvent it and to revive it last year, where also a lot of girls had the possibilities to meet different areas, in particular areas where we have less women in the area of in an atelier, but also in the IT sector, etc. We have also organized a job shadow day this year, and will reorganize also a Girls and Boys Day. Obviously, we're presenting our rail sector in jobs fairs and at schools, and we have more information on career opportunities on social media. And we are about to finish a gender-sensitive book for children about the CFL jobs, also showcasing women in the different CFL jobs, and hoping that also our young girls being attracted to our jobs and our universe. But obviously, recruiting women is not the only thing we want to achieve. It's also making sure that the women have the possibilities to evolve, to develop themselves, and to build a career within the organization. So we have in our internal procedure included that female applicants must be sought for internal job advertisement. That means that each manager who is currently looking for a new staff needs to try to identify also women applicants, and if it's not possible, the manager really needs to explain why it hasn't been possible to find at least an applicant. We have also started a very nice internal campaign showcasing women in leader positions, also to try to inspire other women and obviously to show that it's possible to be a leader, even though if around you have a lot of men, and talking with a lot of people sometimes, or women, it's sometimes quite a big challenge for them to also to apply and to try to be a boss, a female boss in a very male enterprise. So we have very nice, authentic, a témoignage from our colleagues who are leaders in the group, and we hope that it's going to be also a good inspiration for our women to apply in manager jobs within the CFL. I think the next slide is around training. Is that correct? Yes. As I said, training is not a specific pillar. It's being really seen as a cross-cutting issue. We are trying to understand, to include and introduce gender equality, diversity, and inclusion issues, obviously, in our onboarding, in all the onboarding materials we are given to new staff joining the CFL. We have also a specific leadership training. So obviously, all the issues around gender equality are being also included in our leadership trainings. We have been, and have not mentioned it, a very specific training for recruiters on stereotypes, generally speaking. It's not only a specific on women's stereotypes, but generally speaking stereotypes. And we hope that it's also something that can help without being, really a very big incentive, but help managers to understand stereotypes and maybe also to make better choices while recognizing that sometimes they have stereotypes. We have been also including last year in our LMS digital training on DE&I, including stereotypes, and we are trying to make sure that through brown bag lunches within the organization, we are trying to discuss issues around stereotypes, discuss issues around inclusion, and we are doing this on a very regular basis. One specific issue I wanted to highlight, and one of the surveys we have done, is that we have noticed that very few people in our organizations knew actually our gender opportunities officer, actually less than 14%. So we are trying to really work with this equal opportunities officers that are actually working together with us in our monitoring committee, gender equality monitoring committee, and through let's say these committees that are being held 4 years a year, but also through regular exchanges, but also articles. We want to strengthen the capacities and the visibility of this equal opportunities officer, so that we have really built, let's say, internally a network of people visible, active on gender equality issues, where to which actually our staff can go and discuss and maybe share any issues they may have in relation with gender equality. So this is also our indirect or quite direct, actually, capacity building. Other dimensions of our gender equality action plan and policy on the next slide are also issues that Cliona will recognize also from our Women in Rail agreement. The analysis of security and hygiene. We have been updating our internal procedure on the subject of discrimination and harassment. We are currently doing a large internal communication campaign to prevent sexual harassment and sexism. We have been also really prohibiting pornographic images, posters in the company. We are doing specific communication in all bonding sessions and training sessions for managers, as I mentioned, and also in relation to safety within trains, we have been developing a tool to help tracking incidents against CFL staff in trains and stations. So this is more about the working environment, and the next slide is more highlighting actually the work-life balance. We have been introducing flexi time. We are giving more information on flexible working hours in the job advertisements once it's applicable. We have a pilot project on more flexible working time organizations, more part-time, changes in shift work, so that actually people can really choose or better choose how they work. We have been also organizing or creating 4 pumping groups for mothers who are coming back from maternity leave, and we have been developing partnerships with daycare centers for employees who work shifts. So all this experience we also actually share within our internal communications, applications, but also magazines, so that we are making sure that gender equality, work-life balance is being really discussed, and that we actually also promote work-life balance possibilities such as parental leave. I think this is the last slide presenting the actions. Now, yes, these are kind of the first results we have been achieving since 2022. We have a trajectory, obviously, to increase the share of women in our organization. The number of women working actually in the CFL group since 2022 has increased from 14 to almost 16 in May 2024. Maybe it's already 16. So we are very happy about this. We have seen also the number of women applying for CFL increasing. We have the share of recruited women has increased from 14% to 24% in 2023. And we have, as you can see on our picture, 2 women now in the board of directors. That was, as I said at the very beginning of this presentation, 100% male in 2022. So I'm very happy also about this. And I'm sure this is a very positive step for our group to have these 2 women also at the very top of our organization. So this is work in progress, but we are very happy about it, that there is really kind of good development within our organization. Also a lot of people who are contributing to it, and also an interest of managers to push in the right direction. So I'm happy to take any questions you may have, and I'm happy also to listen to the other presentations to learn and to be inspired by you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's such interesting, inspiring presentation. And since we are a little bit short of time, I will invite our audience to put their questions in the chat, and so that we can answer it directly. And thank you so much. And I'll give the floor to Laura to present our next.
Yes, so it's my pleasure now to present Meritxell Salas Pérez. She has a master's in civil engineering from the Polytechnical University of Catalonia, where she developed her studies as well with an international context, specializing in the transport sector during her stay at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Louisiane. She has 8 years of relevant professional experience where she's focused her work in the fields of transport planning and infrastructure business strategy. As a consultant, Meritxell has worked in the analysis of multiple transport scenarios, providing strategic advice to both public and private stakeholders, engaging with transport operators, infrastructure managers, private funds, governments, and public authorities in Europe, Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. During this time, she specialized in the analysis of land transport modes, including intermodal, road, railway, and urban transport systems. Currently, she's a strategic planning specialist at FGC, and she focuses her analysis on railway and public transport systems, providing support and expertise in a wide range of areas, including technical, financial, and institutional issues. And she's here to talk to us about FGC, a feminist company. Meritxell, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you all for being here. My name is Meritxell. I work at FGC, and as a UIC member and opt-in member to this Train to Be Equal project, I'm going to shortly present our organization initiatives for gender equality when it comes to the work environment and to the hiring processes. Well, for those who have already attended the last webinars, I guess everything will already sound familiar to you, but I hope you can get some new insights or new information on this specific hiring topic. So if we move to the next slide. Yeah, thank you. Well, that's just shortly to introduce our company, FGC. We are a public company based in Barcelona, and we manage some suburban railway lines in the city, amongst other railway services and mountain resorts in the Catalan territory. So if we move to the next slide. Okay, thank you. So how do we promote the gender equality? So, well, at FGC, we define ourselves as a feminist company, and we are taking action with a strategy targeting not only the company and their employees, which we call the internal actions here on the left side, but also we target our users and our environment. So that's what we call the external actions. Well, here you can see just some of our most relevant initiatives, but just to say that all of them are gathered in what we call the company's equality plan. which has been designed in collaboration with the employees, so the unions and the company representatives, and it has had a real success in the company in the past years. Well, in fact, we are now, we have just started our third equality plan. We ended our former equality plan 2018-2023 the last year. It has been concluded with a total of 79 actions put in place. And in March this year, we have already approved our new plan for the upcoming period. Which this new plan includes 64 new measures. And once again, it is, it will be our Equality Commission, the one in charge to implement and monitor the plan. And the Equality Commission is also formed by company representatives and also employees. So it's a collaborative plan. So if we move to the next slide. Well, yeah, as per the topic today, I'm just going to focus this presentation on our internal actions, which actually aim to increase and normalize the presence of women in our sector, in the rail sector, and to do so raising collective awareness and non-discriminatory behaviors amongst all our staff. So if we go to the next slide. Thank you. So amongst our internal actions, probably the most significant one for us is the implementation of women quotas in massive recruitment processes. So the company FGC has the goal to count with 40% of women employees in 2025, so next year. And in this line, in 2021, we started with this reservation of 40% seats for women in all massive recruitment processes that involve positions which have been traditionally occupied by men. So in this sense, we started in 2021 and we are already implementing it. And in this sense, we would like to point out that we have been the first railway company in Spain to apply this gender quota. And it's actually been after our initiative that this gender quota is now included as a requirement in the regional railway law here in Catalonia. So if we, yeah, thank you. Well, it has to be noted that despite the decision to implement quotas, FGC has encountered difficulties to find suitable profiles of women for the maintenance and technical positions. So given the situation, we are also implementing and promoting trainings for women students in this sector, and we are offering them some internship positions. Also, regarding the presence of women among our workforce and in the managerial levels, we're also working to promote the incorporation of women in those top management levels. And in this sense, we have started a new policy. This policy has been accorded requiring to count at least with one woman at the last stage of the recruitment process. And in case of different candidates proving the same level of capabilities, the company must select the one which is the underrepresented gender for the position. Next slide. Yeah, thanks. So regarding the work environment, what we aim is to promote an inclusive culture and to raise awareness among our staff and to provide a safe environment for all our employees. So on the one hand, we have adopted the use of inclusive language, and we have also updated our protocol for the prevention and action against sexual harassment. On the other hand, we also work organizing dedicated trainings and communication sessions to all our employees to raise this gender equality awareness in the company. So we work on awareness campaigns for the whole staff, and also just to point out that we organize dedicated trainings for, to our managers, since they are the ones supposed to be the ones responsible for gender harassment detection and prevention in the workplace. So they undertook some specific trainings for being able to have these roles, these detection roles. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, this is actually the last slide. And well, as a recap, what's been our impact in gender equality so far. So as you can see here in the graph, we got to increase the woman representation significantly among our staff, rising from the 28% in 2017, which was the year before the implementation of our last equality plan, to almost 33% of women this year, well, last year, 2023. Also here in the right side, you can see in the management positions, now women represent 27% of our staff. And comparing to it was more or less in the 15% in 2017. So we got this huge rise in management positions as well. So, well, just to say that, as mentioned before, these results are expected to improve in the next years because, well, we're going to take more actions in this regard. And our goal is to reach the gender equality, as mentioned before, the 40% presence of women among our workforce in 2025. So we will keep working on these actions and in our equality plan. And we hope to raise these numbers to our goal. And that's it from our side. I hope it's been useful and looking forward to hear the rest of the presentations as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meritxell, for that very interesting presentation. As you pointed out, we're a little bit behind schedule, so I'm going to move straight on to the next speaker, but feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat. So it's my pleasure now to welcome to the floor Noémie Bercoff from Femmes en Mouvement. She is a specialist in collective, rail, and urban mobility, infrastructure, and services. Her day-to-day work consists of developing a business, attracting and retaining talent, and developing teams of good spirits. Trained as a lawyer, Noémie is currently managing director of Urban Loop, a company offering a light, low-carbon, autonomous, exclusive lane, infrastructure-free transport system. She joined Femmes en Mouvement by co-optation, convinced by the quality of the collective and the events. Noémie is convinced of the need for a more mixed governance, for a more efficient and harmonious governance of our societies. Mobility is key. She attended the Board of Directors course at ESSEC Business School. Noémie, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Laura. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to have heard the two last people, and especially Jennifer, when she spoke about testimony of women being in leadership places. So if you agree, I will present you Femmes en Mouvement first, and after that I will take a few minutes to give you my testimony about what it is like to be a woman in this male world, and how it works, and what we have to do to reach this kind of places and of jobs. So Femmes en Mouvement is an association, so it means that me and all of us, we are volunteers, and it's beginning to be a large association. We are about 150 individual persons who have joined the association. You can stay at the very beginning if it's okay for you. Yes, here it's perfect. Yeah, perfect. And so it's we are at the time where it's difficult because we have to represent the association. And so first call of action, if some of you want to join, would be very happy, because we need people who want to change the world about diversity. So Femmes en Mouvement is a French woman professional network. We have two legs. First one, the network, and the second leg is that we provide scientific content about women in the public spaces, in mobility. So we have people thinking and working about this subject. So we have these two legs. It's not just a network of people helping each other. You can go to the next slide, please. So Femmes en Mouvement is born in July 2015 from an annoyment. Our president was very annoyed because another conferences with just men speaking. In the mobility world, we have often that. And so she said, well, fair enough, I will organize a conference with just leader women speaking. And so she decided that, and Femmes en Mouvement was born. And we had lots of different action I will present to you. The only objective is to increase the number of women in the general governance in order to have better decisions, because it is proved that when you have a diverse panel taking the decision at the very top, the decisions are more diverse, and they are more easy for everyone in the world. You know, this numbers on the left side. So 52% of people in France are women. 27% of transport and warehousing employees in France are women. And in the transportation sector, we have between 25 and 35, but it depends on which specific business in the transportation sector. But if you take the numbers of people getting out from an engineering school, it's about 35%. And if you take the heads of all the large transportation company, operation, construction, it's not 35%. Sharing Audacity was les vélos audacieuses. We had this action with bikes to have more women taking bikes. And then if you see, we launched the Lyon branch in 2015, Lille in 2022. In 2023, Femmes en Mouvement was declared of general interest, which is very important because as an association, we were not able to have the cashback from the French Ministry of Finance, whereas all associations have this cashback. And so we made lots of lobbying to have that and the declaration of general interest, and we had it, and it's good for every women association. The fact that if you do something for equality, now it is considered to be general interest. It is what we achieved in 2023. And then we launched the Marseille, Montpellier, and Toulouse branch. You can go to the next one. So our belief, as I said at the very beginning, increase of representation of women in the transport and mobility sector at all levels. So I heard lots of things with CFL, and we need more drivers, women, and we need more women at every level of the companies. We need these women to be seen. So I will take this last minute to tell you what is my background in this level. We need to highlight the career path and achievements of women working in the sector. So at Femmes en Mouvement, we do at least once a month what we call an apéro. So we do some events, and we do some interviews of women who have a specific career path, and it's nice, and we think it's very important to give references to young women in order that they are sure that they can achieve this kind of position. And the last one is what is the science leg. So we promote and we develop scientific content. You can go to the next one. So the monthly aperitif and breakfast, as I told you. So once a month, Paris, Lyon, Marseille. We have one in Toulouse on the 20th of June, if some of you are there. And it's very, very useful because there is a first time where we do this interview with a specific woman. And then after that, we have networking, and it's very nice and useful. And it's a kind of time that we don't take often enough as women, because we have lots of things to do. And I heard lots of interesting things about life quality. So we don't take enough time to network, and at Femmes en Mouvement, we do that once a month. We have workshops on specific topics. We have an action you can see on LinkedIn and somewhere else, like alerting male-dominated discussion groups. So we go in contact when we see male-only panels on conferences, and we propose women. I was yesterday with the Transportation Ministry of France, and they had called me 2 weeks ago in order to find a specialist of artificial intelligence, a woman. Give me a minute. So we have and we share large lists of expert women, and it works really well. I think you can go to the next one. The next one. As I told you at the very beginning, we are about 150 individual people in Femmes en Mouvement, and we have organizations, all kinds of organizations. DE&I in France is the Ministry of Transportation. They joined us in 2023. We have public organizations like Île-de-France Mobilité, like the GART, and we have lots of private companies. They come to Femmes en Mouvement to have levelers to highlight and to have more effect in their own diversity policies. I think you can go to the next one. That's it. So the few figures, we have one garden party. You can see the large picture. It was in the garden of the French Ministry of Transportation. 18 aperitifs, 22 guests of honors because sometimes we interview 2 people. 17 newsletter, 3,500 followers on LinkedIn, and we have made once Parigo. It's one of the most looked at TV show on France 3 on mobility. And that's it. After that, you have just a presentation of our active members, our administratrice. If you go to the next slide. That's it. So as I told at the very beginning, we are an association. So all of us are volunteers. We are open to men, and we like to work with men. And I think that's it for this presentation. And as when we prepared, I have been asked, and I am happy to do that. And as you said when you introduced me, I'm also the CEO of Urban Loop. So Urban Loop is a French company, and we propose a new transportation system, a public transport system. It's small capsules of small pods. You can go in at 2 people, 2 by 2, and it's autonomous transportation. It's electrical and without battery, and we have the first project in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines that will be launched before the Olympic Games. So if you want to see what this company does, you just go on LinkedIn or you call me afterwards, and I will be very happy to give you a presentation. And what I want to share with you is how and what are the difficulties when you are a woman on this kind of company. So I can share lots of experiences, and it's often complicated. Yesterday, I was with one of my colleagues, and we were receiving a man who just asked, "What are you doing at Urban Loop?" So I said, "I'm the CEO of Urban Loop," and the man just didn't get it. He just didn't get it. He said, "But no, what is your job at Urban Loop?" And I said 3 times, "Well, I'm the CEO of Urban Loop, so I'm all the general management of the company." It was very, very strange. And so this is quite often that you don't look like what is weighted for a CEO for this kind of company, because Urban Loop, as others, is a company very technical, very industrial. We produce the caps, so we have a factory. And how do we get there? I'd say that the worst, the thing you have to deal with, glass sailing and everything like that, but Simon, you often meet this case. Yeah, it's a pity. And you see, what is very complicated is that yesterday I didn't manage with it nicely on the first time. The difficulty is that we are not built to be able to say, well, I'm the CEO, that's it, you don't understand. And so we hesitate and we don't, it's complicated to have the right answer to this kind of situations. So what you have to deal with is your own fear to reach this kind of position. And once you are there, just be happy, be positive, be sure that you are worth it, and always take time to testify and to give testimony about this kind of positions. And I'm always mentoring 1 or 2 women per year because I think it's very useful, and young women, to show them that it's possible to become a leader in companies and have children and things like that. So I didn't tell you, I am 47 years old. I have 3 children, 23, 22, and 17 years old. So it is possible to have children and to have a nice career. And we are right now finishing the first urban loop in the world. So it's 10 pods, 2 kilometers in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines. So you might not imagine, but first world means that I have people there days and nights full time from the 1st of May all the time. So we have pictures of urban loop pods working at night. And we have a second project that will take place in Nancy, east of France, 40 pods, 7 kilometers, and it will be ready end of 2026. I think that's enough. I don't want to take more of your time if you are already late, and I'm open to answer your question if you have some, either right now or by email afterwards, if you send my email to everybody.
Thank you so much, Noémie, for the wonderful presentation about Femmes en Mouvement, the great work that association is doing to bring women to the front of the transportation sector, and as well for your personal testimony about being a woman and as a CEO and a woman and working in the transport mobility. You know, I recognize myself as well in some of the things that you were saying as a woman who also works in the transport field. I'd like to now pass the floor back to you, I think, who will introduce the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Laura. So now we will have it's my pleasure to introduce to you the last part of it, and it will be a very interactive and valuable training session with our colleagues and experts from FS Italian. And it's about inclusive recruiting and workplace training. And I'll give the floor to our 3 experts today, and I'll let you introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Yuki. Thank you, everyone, for this workshop till now. I'll try to be shorter than the preview because we are a little bit late, I know, but it's a pleasure for me to be here with you all, participating today together with Elisabetta and Paolo. I will introduce you them later. We will guide you through some experiences that may help all of us to explore some of our biases and ways to be more inclusive on our workplaces. But first, as I told, let me introduce you our trainers today in our company. Me, Elisabetta, and Paolo, we work in Ferrovie dello Stato Italiane, which is like the main Italian transportation company that manage trains, rail infrastructures, roads, buses, and much more. We work in people care area, which is in the HR department. Elisabetta is a disability manager for the group, and Paolo and I are in charge of all DE&I strategies and projects for the group. I'm Mattia D'Adda. I'm a social psychologist with a master's degree in transport economics. I'm in charge of all the diversity, equality, and inclusion projects since 2022. And I focus now on gender equality, LGBT+, multiculturalism, and people engagement. We will start together with a special test, an experience to explore our privilege. Then I will leave the floor to Paolo for a focus on recruiting and employer branding. Paolo is diversity and inclusion specialist at Ferrovie dello Stato since 2023. He studied logic and philosophy of science and has a master in human resources. Together with Paolo today, we will see how language can shape our thoughts and how gender stereotypes can influence our and other choices. Finally, the baton passed to Elisabetta. She's a disability and caring specialist with a master's degree in disability management and human resources and organization. She's in Ferrovie dello Stato since 2007, and now she majorly focuses on people caring, psychological well-being, and people with disability. Together with Elisabetta, we will see how gender stereotypes are strongly rooted in our cognitive processes and how, in an intersectionality perspective, these cognitive processes can influence us in major life changes. What we can do as people manager, colleagues, or just people to face that when it comes to disability. So let's move to the next slide, please. Our life experiences, privileged to various degrees, influence our way of seeing things, of relating to others, for dealing with the different situation that private and professional life presents to us. With this activity we are now doing, we will reflect on your level of privilege and/or discrimination. Now I will present to you 10 situations that represents various forms of discrimination. But first, I ask you to raise your hands. You don't have to switch the cameras, just do it if you want. So just raise your hands with all your fingers, okay? Now, for each of the situation I'll show you, please put down a finger each time you find yourself in one of the described situation. At the end of this activity, you can realize your level of privilege on the fingers on your hands. The higher the number, the higher the privilege. Okay, so let's start. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced difficulty on doing something because of inaccessible condition. So if it's the case, just put your finger down. Second, put your finger down if you have ever experienced hiding a characteristic of yours for fear of judgment of others. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced being called something derogatory because of your appearance or characteristic. Put a finger down if you have ever experienced being mocked because of your religious beliefs. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced feeling endangered because of your gender or sexual orientation. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced that someone meeting you would feel endangered because of your ethnicity. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced being considered unsuitable for a certain activity because of your age, despite of your competence. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced that your ideas were discredited because of your nationalities. Put your finger down if you have ever experienced that they took something about you for granted because of a characteristic of your personal characteristic, of course. And last but not least, put your fingers down if you have ever experienced that you felt inadequate because others consider you only different. Okay, so at the end, how many fingers are left up? Okay, if you want, you can write the answer if you want in the chat. It's not required, but if you want, you can write the answer in the chat. I'll do it myself. While you are writing it, let me just say something about this. My first question is, can you see this in it, in this number? And remember that this is only a symbolic exercise, and the reality is much more complicated. In fact, different forms of privilege are often intertwined, giving rise to complex and multifaceted scenario that's not so easy at all, as you know. Many different privileges and many different ways to be discriminated. Being aware of one privilege is an important first step toward creating a more equitable and inclusive environment. So, how can we work on prejudice and discrimination? So, move to the next slide, please. Just one more. This is my first answer, which is not obviously a definitive answer, but I think that to create a culture of inclusion that is as deep as rooted as possible, in FS Group, we worked on drafting, approval, and publication of a document, a policy, that defined the principles and guidelines of the group in the field of diversity, equality, and inclusion. Writing a policy is important because the principle contained can be transferred on various levels of organization, even when it's very, very complex, like we are. Specifically, working on a policy means involving those who deal with different departments in a company, such as industrial relations, data protection, human resources, and business lines. In a policy, it's important to define the focus, like gender, age, disability, and so on, but to leave room for other, to clarify that there are no limits to diversity, and then the objective is the well-being of the person in his or her uniqueness. It is important for us to clarify that diversity and inclusion should not be limited to human resources, but must become a professional competence for all people in a group. Finally, our policy materialized with the subsequent production of guidelines that are specific, concrete, and useful to those who then have to relate to the workforce, which means to be able to answer to people's needs. Okay, so my part is finished, so thank you, everyone. If someone is interested for a copy of our policy, we can send. It's available in Italian and English. And it's a pleasure to me to talk about recruiting, to leave the floor to Paolo. Thank you, and Paolo, to you.
Hello, everyone. You can hear me?
Yes, but we can't see you.
Okay. Okay.
I see
Now
you.
okay.
I see him as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see you. It's okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Paolo Di Francesco, DE&I specialist at FS, and today I want to share with you some phrases, some sentences that I believe all of you have heard before, or something similar maybe. You're a good driver to be a woman, wife, mother, and also an engineer. It's not a job for women, either work or family, but also either you're beautiful or you're smart. This behavior is not suitable for a woman. Mrs. or Miss, boys are better at sports. It's not a game for girls, but also is not a game for boys. It's not a job for women, but also it's not a job for men. They sound familiar, right? I've heard them very often, and they've been said to me too. I think now I have two questions for you. Can we switch the slide, please? Okay. To answer, scan the QR code and select some of the phrases we read on the previous slide to answer these questions. Which of these sentences have been said to you? Which of these sentences have you ever said? Now let's try. You can go with the link also.
Is it possible to see the answers?
The answer.
What is going on in the...
Okay, thank you. This behavior is not suitable for a woman. Yeah, okay. Mrs. or Miss. Either work or family is one of the best, I think. Okay. 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 Now that we have the responses, I would like to analyze these phrases.
Wait, Paolo, this was only the first question, which was now we have to answer to the next one, which is which of these sentences have you ever said?
Okay, boys are better at sports. Okay, I think I say that too. Yeah, I'm guilty. Okay, thank you for the answers. I think we can go back to the slide and go to the slide with the definitions. No, okay, thank you. Now that we heard the responses, I would like to analyze these phrases. First thing, these are not just phrases or sentences, they are biases. That is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way because of allowing personal opinions to influence your judgments from Cambridge Dictionary. The biases we talked about so far are gender biases. Any of one of variety of stereotypical belief or biases about individuals on the basis of their gender from APA Dictionary of Psychology. Biases are not just phrases or sentences, they are very problematic ways of thinking because they do not only influence the person who has them, but also the people around them, limiting their freedom and opportunities. For example, a recruiter who, due to his biases, thinks that men are more suited for manual job will hire a male worker over a female one with the same skills. Okay? Everyone has biases. It's not the problem, but it's necessary to know them and be aware of having them. The fundamental step we have to do is to make others aware and help them recognize the biases overall. Okay, from unconscious bias to recognize our biases and make other people aware of this. Okay, I hope everything is clear so far. So now we can go on the next slide. Because I would like to take a few more minutes to talk to you about two best practices that we would like to share. But one in particular, it's Women in Motion. It's a long-standing project of FS, an initiative through which we go to school all over Italy to discuss gender equality, biases, and the job opportunities in our company. During these initiatives, our role model shared their experiences to inspire students to pursue technical studies and career. The aim is increasing gender balances in roles that in Italy are primarily considered male due to gender biases, obviously. The project started in 2017 as involved 19,000 students and is still active. We engage students in an interactive session. It's similar to what you did earlier by regarding the sentences, the phrases, okay? We also asked them how they felt when these phrases were said to them. And we told them about it to help them understand the effect of biases. I have to say that we love this project. Me, Mattia, and Elisabetta are the three people who physically go to the school to talk with the students. But another important activity has been the Inclusivamente project, which means inclusively in Italy, and consists of a series of training sessions for HR colleagues on the topic of biases and other DNA topics related to that. Now I'm finished. I leave the floor to Elisabetta, and thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. Just 1 second to wrap up. So it is absolutely important and normal. It is normal to have gender stereotypes. What is important to understand, to know them, and to be able to stop just a few seconds before, use them to take decision. So this is quite the insight we want to leave you. So thank you, Paolo, again. Now the floor to Elisabetta.
Thank you, Mattia. Thank you all for your attention. It will be quick and painless, I hope. I'm Elisabetta. I'm a caring and disability specialist in FS Italiane, to focusing on the recruiting and the re-onboarding of people with disabilities. We started from what is the general process in our company in recruiting people with disability, for example, is to be compliant to Italian law, of course, to structure a tailor-made journey based on the competencies, the skills, and the special needs of the person, and to be focused in these specific needs to be able to create an inclusive work environment, and of course matching the specific needs of people with disability with our company needs. But what happened when people that are already employed and experience a dramatic and sudden change, such as a new disability? What if their disabilities not allow them anymore to fulfill their role and their tasks? And what, and most importantly, I think, what can we do as a company, as people, when people hopes, dreams, and expectation for their future unfortunately fail for their future as a person and as a professional? We can go to the next slide. Thank you. We chose to talk about our experience with a real person to share the context that we began with and the process that allowed us to bring him back on board our company. Paul, of course, a fictional name, is a 53-year-old train driver. He has worked for more than 20 years for our company. This railway role, so the train driver is due to the widespread gender stereotypes, as we talked, is one of the most male jobs in the sector. So imagine that Paul was part of very supporting and supportive group of men, and his identity, as for his colleague, was really profoundly entwined with his role of train driver. So suddenly, when he was diagnosed with a degenerative genetic disease that will lead him sadly to total blindness, he was not a train driver anymore. And he had problems to be on focus of his new condition. So as a company, as we do to all our employees, we proposed him to go in free psychological therapy, but he refused. Such as many white men, unfortunately. In the meantime, his illness progressed. So we have to relocate him in a role that was carried out poorly remote. So he was unfortunately lonely. And this role not really valued his skills and his experience. So he was in grief and he was lonely. So it was our responsibility as a company to build a tailor-made path that allows him to be more himself, to discover a new path, a new professional identity. We can go to the next slide. So we built this process. I will be very quick. So we have a startup meeting with the company in which Paul worked to assess the situation, identify a suitable technical partner to study what is his condition, his skills, and his needs. We developed an action plan, so a formalization of this tailor-made path for Paul. We identified a new role for him based on his specific needs with health and security, which is HR, which is a new manager. And then we presented all this to Paul in a first meeting to have the commitment and the agreeing of the person, of course. So we have this kind of process of preparation for the onboarding of Paul. The most important phase in it was to train his future managers and colleagues on the needs, features, and possible complexity for a person newly blind, unfortunately, to be in a specific workplace. The interesting part was that we made a kind of simulation of his journey, for example, from his home to work, because it would be a new location, so a relocation for him, and of course an assessment of his workplace, so all the accommodation that were needed to made him feel comfortable and of course productive on work. We structured a vademecum, so a guidelines with blind expert. It was very important in the training for the guideline to be assisted by a blind person, because only a blind person has the point of view. It's a curious manner of speaking for a blind person, but it's real. The point of view of a blind person on a blind person, but everyone is different, of course. We, as I said, identified all the tools to support Paul in his new role. We had a first check to analyze how is working, how Paul is feeling, and also we we proposed and Paul accepted a coaching for him. So one-on-one coaching, I think 8 sessions of coaching during the first months of his new relocation to be more supporting for his professional but also personal identity. We are looking forward to have many follow-up meetings. I think every 3 months will be fair to monitoring the situation and to be certain that Paul is performing as we want him performing in our company. We can go to the quick poll. I said to you that we structured the guidelines to be able to give Paul colleagues and managers more tools. The guidelines for behavior and correct words to communicate with him. So I took some samples of the thank you for your answers. Some samples from the guideline to share with you which is the correct behavior towards a person with disability. So the first one is, it is right to ask a person with disability who you have just met, why they became disabled and what their disability is. Absolutely not is illegal is a good answer because, for example, for the Italian law, I don't know for the other country that are hearing us, for the Italian law, it's absolutely illegal in the recruiting process to ask, of course, which is the disability of the person and how he or she became disabled. But I have to give credit to the other people that answered with the second and the third questions. Maybe the third one is not probably correct because we don't have to assume that based on our professional relationship, I'm allowed to ask something so personal to a person. But it's correct that at a certain point, when I have developed a correct and a fair relationship with a person, if a person, so it depends by the person, allows me to be more intimate with him, I can ask him which is his condition. But is very, very delicate and is profoundly depends on the person that we have with which we have a relation in the workplace. We can go to the next one. Thank you. The next one is it right to say in every occasion to your colleague with disability that if she needs something, I'm here?
That's an easier one, Elisabetta. Easy question, this one. No?
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Okay. I was expecting more yes always. So I'm very proud of our listeners, because it depends by the person. Assuming for the condition of the person. So if a person is with disability, it's obvious that she there will be in need of my assistance, of my help. It's not like that. It's more, it depends by the person, it depends by the relationship. And I think it's more fair to say that real equality, real equity begins also with this kind of attention. Because if I am always the person that helps. I'm not in a relationship of symmetry with the other person. So I'm very glad and proud of you for your answers. I think I will leave you with the last one, that is the 7 golden rules to have a fair, equal, and a good relationship with a person with disability. Okay, so I will leave you this as a homework or as a gentle reminder, maybe, for all the behaviors that we can, on a common basis, put in action to be more inclusive. So don't let the disability make you uncomfortable, be willing to listen, always speak directly to the person with disability, give them time to, and it depends by the person, we said, pay attention to the words you use, to your gesture, to your facial expressions. This behavior is mostly for people with cognitive and psychological disability. It would be good to be aligned between your words and your facial expressions. Take into consideration different communication channels. For example, with deaf people, if I can talk to them. How can I do? For example, writing or video interpreting with an interpreter. And lastly, but not less important, put the person first, not their disability. So focus on the characteristics, on the character and features of the person. And this is the thing that I think is most important to be able to create a good and fair relationship based on equality, respect, and not biases. Thank you all.
Thank you, Elisabetta. Let me just summarize all of this. So we have seen that we all enjoy certain privilege that protects us from different forms of discrimination. Privileges are rooted within thoughts, biases that shape our choices, and that these patterns are quite natural, automatic, but it is important to recognize them and to stop for a moment before acting on them. Finally, we have seen how some biases can be strongly rooted in people, even when it comes to major life changes, such as an added disability. We can do a lot about this, both from an organizational point of view. We personalized intervention program with a view to intersectionality, and individually with our behaviors. So thank you all for the attention. We are just 4 minutes late, so if you have some question, please feel free to write them to the chat or to add us on LinkedIn or just emailing us. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. It's such interesting and enriching session, and I hope everyone just enjoyed this as us. And since we're a little bit late off the agenda, please address all your questions to us and also to all our speakers. We will get back to you happily with the answer kits. So thanks to all our speakers. It's thanks to you we can have this amazing session, and also thanks to all our members supporting the Train to Be Equal project. So for more information, you can scan this QR code to get more information on the UIC website. And if you would like to support us more to take this whole work moving further, you are welcome to contact Drew, our Senior Advisor for Sustainability Strategy and International Partnerships. We will guide you through to join the project. And we will also like to take this opportunity to invite you to join the World Congress on the Rail Training. We are now open for the submitting the abstract. If you have anything to share with us for the training, for talent management, for the expertise developing, please do not hesitate to have the QR code here, and you are more than welcome to join us. So that's yeah, that's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it, and you will get all the documents later on our website.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Laura.